Hello everyone. Hope all are good and taking care of yourself and family. As Poonam Patil, Assistant Professor, on behalf of Konkan Gyanpith Rahul Dharkar College of Pharmacy and Research Institute Karjat, once again welcome all the participants and delegates on the fifth day of Student Development Program on career opportunities in various fields of pharmacy organized under KG Sanjeevani Continued Learning Webinar Series. It gives me privilege to have the honor of welcoming our amazing speaker cum trainer, Mr. Sachin Tadge, Assistant General Manager, Acutis Laboratories Private Limited, on his third session in Student Development Program on career opportunities in various fields of pharmacy. So once again, I welcome you, sir, and I request you to proceed with the session. Over to you, Sachin, sir.
Okay, thank you. Amol sir, just please confirm me if my screen is visible and my voice is clear to everyone. Ajay sir or Amol sir, please confirm me if my screen is visible to everyone and voice is audible.
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible and
Mhm.
you are audible too.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Please go
Thanks
ahead,
for
sir.
confirmation. Okay, so hi, good morning, friends. I hope we have a good journey till now. Okay, and today is our last session where I'm going to cover a very important topic of pharmacovigilance, that is narrative writing, medical coding, and regulation control on PB activity. Okay, so uh, I'll will have just a brief quick recap for our 2 days, so that those who miss starting, or maybe those who miss some point, you can just note down. And it will be a good practice if you have a pen and notepad with you, and you can note down the things. And what we will do today, as today is our last session, I will complete all topic. I'll try to complete everything by within an hour, and then we'll have a more time for question answer session. So that will give a good scope for you to have your all questions, queries. Answer from my end, and if anything is there, then we'll connect later on as well. So very quick, we started our session specifically for pertaining to pharmacovigilance. We saw the how the drug discovery is happening, preclinical and clinical trial, and there are some issues with clinical trial, as there are some adverse drug reactions and ethical issue with human trials. Then we see how the clinical research is divided. It's mainly divided. Uh, I'll again remind you, this is not any like this is not a classification given anywhere. This is for your understanding, so that you will have a clear, you can say, a borderline between a research and the data. Okay, so whatever clinical research activities are conducted, it's under the clinical research, it's clinical trial, clinical operation, regulatory authorities, and whatever data part is there, means whatever things are practically happen with clinical research, all data has been captured and analyzed and monitored under the data. So under the data, we have pharmacovigilance, clinical data management, signal detection, that we are going to study today, and clinical research organization as a whole include everything. Okay, we saw the clinical research, what is clinical research and its phases. Then we saw the historical background, and as I mentioned, like the main, you can say, the trigger or maybe signal to have a development of pharmacovigilance concept is a thalidomide, and from that many things are there in the line. Then we saw the definition of pharmacovigilance. What is pharmacovigilance? It's a science activity relating to detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse drug effect or any drug related problem. Then we saw the difference between the adverse drug reaction and side effect. Please note that this is important from your interview point of view. Okay, then we saw how the PV is working in India, Then we saw some important terminology related to adverse drug, like pharmacovigilance, that is adverse drug reaction, serious adverse drug event. Then case reports, how what are the different type of reports that are available, as we already covered the solicited and unsolicited part. Then today we are going to cover the causality assessment, narrative writing, and reporting of mm, SEs to the regulatory authority. So this is the definition of the serious adverse event that we saw, which result in the death, life-threatening, requiring inpatient hospitalization or prolongation of existing hospitalization, result in persistent or significant disability, incapacity, and genital anomaly or birth defect. Okay, then we also covered the type of that mean class, that is the classification of the ADRs. So there are total 6 types of ADRs available: type A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, and we saw each class separately. Then we also covered how the pharmacovigilance activity covered, is working in India, how it is the data collection is happening for adverse drug reaction. So you saw like adverse drug monitoring center collect all the adverse drug reaction. They do the data entry of that. Then it has been forwarded to national pharmacovigilance centers, that is to AIMS. They do the analysis, quality check also is done, quality assessment has been done, and accordingly some feedbacks are given to ADR monitoring center. Then it has been forwarded to zonal center. Then if there are any high alert, or you can say the signal detection or signal generation, or any serious concern about any drug, then Central Drug Standard Control Organization give instruction to Drug Control of the Drug Control General of India to take some action on that respective pharmaceutical company. Okay, likewise, these things are happening in India. Then we saw one of the important topic, that is processing of cases under the pharmacovigilance. And as I mentioned, what we learned yesterday is type of cases, that is spontaneous cases, and study, that is clinical cases. So spontaneous cases are unsolicited type, unstructured type, because these cases are generally came from healthcare professional, consumers, lawyer, regulatory authority, or maybe patient relatives. Study cases, that means clinical trial cases. Okay, these are cases generally comes in the, with the CRF, that is case report form, which is structured format. Okay, there are some regulatory reports. This is also structured format. So we call this as a solicited report. We call this as an unsolicited report. And all the data comes in a database. As we already studied, there are 2 types of database. One is universal database, and another one is customized database. So we'll consider the example of only universal database, because customized database is as per the requirement of each and every company and their requirement. Once the all information comes into the database, data that universal database autofill some information, and the rest information we need to do the data entry. So after doing the data entry, there is data review. Whatever data entry we are done, we need to review that data entry, and then we need to do the evaluation. Evaluation, that means we need to check whether whatever adverse drug reaction has been reported is related to our drug, is not related to our drug, or there are some other causes. So on this 3 parameter, we need to do the evaluation of adverse drug reaction with our drug. After doing everything, we need to write a narrative. The output will be your narrative. So whatever we have entered, whatever data entry we did, okay, we need to write a narrative for that. And after writing a narrative, there will be an action. Some reports are reported to regulatory authority. Some reports we need to do the frequent safety update report. some there are some questions, then we need to respond to that question as well. And there is a signal generation. If there is any signal generation, we need to do that as well. Okay, so we are here till this point. I hope this quick recap will also help you. So now we will see how the data evaluation part is there and how the narrative writing is there. Okay, so for this I'm required, I'll explain you under the paint. Okay. Mm, okay. Just paint. Okay. Hope you are able to see my screen, paint screen. Okay, so I just wanted to explain you because processing of cases under pharmacovigilance is one of the most important parts. So I'll just quickly run through that, and in the same that we will cover the causality assessment part as well. Okay, so we are started here. So there is a report source. Okay, there is a report source. Okay, it will be either from clinical trial or from spontaneous source. Then we got the cases, that is in case report form or in a description form. Okay, it will be a simple description. Again, just remind you, clinical trial means solicited report, spontaneous report or unsolicited report, that is unstructured report. Whatever information came, it came to a database. Okay, database. We already saw three type of database: aware, RAG, Argus, and there are some two or three more, but these are the universal database that we have. And transferring of this information from clinical trial and spontaneous cases to the database is done by a parent pharma company. Okay, any pharma company who have given the business to any outsourcing company like TCS, Cognizant, Atomics, or Quintiles. Okay, what they generally do, they put all their reports, spontaneous and clinical, or you can say the all term, to a database to the company, they have given the outsourcing business. Okay, once all information has been put to a database, as I mentioned, there are some field which are updated by which are auto-filled. They are auto-filled, but some we need to do the data entry. So we do the data entry generally. Those who want to just note, they can note. We need to do the data entry for patient information, like what is patient information here is weight, height, date of birth, and sex of the patient. Okay, then we need to do the data entry for the drug, that is suspected drug. Okay, we need to do the drug entry for suspected drug. If it is from clinical trial, we need to only mention the generic name. If it is from spontaneous report, we need to mention the generic and brand name as well. Generic name and brand name in the bracket. So this is your suspected drug. That means the drug for which we are suspecting there is an adverse drug reaction. But there are some other drugs as well. We call that drug as concomitant medications. That means these are the drugs which are generally given along with your suspected drug. Maybe, for example, like we are doing the trial for a cancer study. Okay, where there are many multiple drugs are given to the patient. Okay, out of that, one drug is giving some adverse drug reaction, so that drug will be our suspected drug. But rest of the other drug will be the concomitant medication. Means the drug is given along with your suspected drug are concomitant medication. I hope this is clear to everyone. Then there will be medical history as well. So concomitant medication are the medication which are continuously given along with your suspected drug. But under the medical history, patient is taking some other drug in past. We need to report that as well. Okay. And generally, we need to report that with generic name and brand name. Okay, because the patient was already taken some drug in past, and which is may or may not be related to our pharma company. Not so we need to report their generic and brand name as well. Okay, so we are here. So we have updated our patient information, then we have updated the drug information, then we need to update about event. So what is event? And if you recall medical coding slide where I mentioned, so whatever things that we are doing, it should be universally accepted medical language. If suppose the patient is having fever as an event, okay, then Mitra will code that as a pyrexia. Likewise, whatever event is there, fever or you can say pain, we need to report as it is. Okay, if the patient is saying I am not feeling well, okay, I am not feeling well due to pain. Okay, so our event will be the pain. Okay, and as per that, Mitra will code the rest of the high level, low level terms. So whatever event is there mentioned in a CRF or in the spontaneous report, we need to report as it is. Okay. Then we need to report some other medical history as well, other than your drug. Suppose patient in past patient is having epilepsy, then patient is having you can say the hypoglycemia, then patient is having some heart problems, whatever things are there, that also we need to report under the medical history. So we are done with our patient information, then we are done with our suspected drug and concomitant medication, then we are done with our event information, then we also done with our medical history. Then we need to do the data entry for diagnosis. So whatever diagnosis has been done in past, okay, blood glucose level value, ECG, okay, then creatinine level, whatever things are done, we have to enter. Then whatever diagnosis has been done for the event, that is also we need to consider. So we will do the data entry of that as well. Okay, so this will cover you. You can say this will cover your all important information. So after that, whatever data we have entered, whatever information that we have entered, we need to do the causality assessment. Okay, what do you mean by the causality assessment? Okay, we'll see this separately. I hope with this, up to this point, everything is clear. And as I mentioned, what we will do today, we will complete our session, and then we'll have a question answer at the last, so that you will have sufficient time to have question answers. Okay, so that is my intention. So causality assessment. Now we are studying about evaluation of your evaluation part of your case processing. That is causality assessment. What do you understand by the causality assessment? The causality assessment is we need to find out the relationship between your suspected drug that is product, okay, or suspected drug with adverse drug reaction or serious adverse drug reaction. Okay, to find out the relationship between your suspected drug and adverse drug reaction, this is called as causality assessment. There are only four options. Okay, first option, I will see this with the example. Suppose we are taking, I am taking simple examples so that it will be clear and there will be no confusion. Okay, we are a patient is taking paracetamol. Okay, and with the paracetamol, patient is having stomach pain as an event. This is just example. Okay, so with the paracetamol, patient is having adverse drug reaction of stomach pain. So what will be the causality analysis? So there are two methods. Okay, to find out the causality analysis in a market, there are total 35 methods available all over the world. But out of that, only two methods are very popular. One is Naranjo scale and one is WHO scale. Okay, Naranjo scale and WHO scale. We'll see that. So after doing the analysis, there will be a four conclusion. Means that there will be one of four conclusion. Okay, after doing the analysis part, either with this example, consider this as an example. The event of stomach pain is directly related to our suspected drug. That means we can say the paracetamol is directly responsible for event of stomach pain. Okay, this is to understand in layman term, and in a pharmacovigilance terminology, we need to mention that the event of stomach pain, there is okay, there will be a direct causality relationship, or you can say the certainly the just I will just end this with the event of stomach pain certainly related to our suspected drug, that is paracetamol. This is first, you can say this will be the first probability. What will be the second probability? This probability or the analysis is after doing this analysis with the help of Naranjo WHO. So I will cover that later on. I'm explaining you what will be the result of causality analysis. The second probability will be the event of stomach pain is not due to our suspected drug paracetamol. This is to understand in layman term. So we will say in the terms of pharmacovigilance, the event of stomach pain is unrelated with our suspected paracetamol. Third probability, the event of stomach pain, okay, so I'll reframe like this. There is no information of stomach pain causing, like paracetamol causing stomach pain. Okay, paracetamol is causing stomach pain. That means we are not sure that event of stomach pain is due to our drug paracetamol. So it's, we call in PV term, we call the causality relationship between the stomach pain and our suspected drug paracetamol is unknown. Causality relationship is unknown. And fourth one is that the fourth one probability will be like this will be unknown. Okay, that is, we do not know the cause. Okay, and another probability will the event of stomach pain and the paracetamol. We have mentioned here as a certain. Okay, we have mentioned this as unrelated, and here we, the last one is uncertain. Okay, so these are the four different we can say the outcome for your causality assessment. Okay, so now we will see that with the with our slide. Okay, so we are here till this point. We are doing the evaluation. Okay, so adverse drug reaction and causality assessment scale. Okay, so adverse drug reaction are the major cause of morbidity, hospital admission, and even death. So due to adverse drug reaction, there are prolonged hospitalization, life-threatening events, and many, like there are cases where death is also occurring. Okay, so hence it is essential to recognize the adverse drug reaction and to establish a causal relationship between the drug. That means we need to find out whether the adverse drug reaction, whatever adverse drug reaction is there, what will be the relation of adverse drug reaction with our suspected drug. Okay, in this term, hence it is essential to recognize the adverse drug reaction and to establish a causal relationship between the adverse drug reaction and adverse event as per probability scale. So this is Naranja scale. Okay, this is for your information, because in a database that universal database that we are using, like company are using Argus, RHG, aware. So this Naranja scale or WHO scale, it is there. They are working at the back end. So we just need to put our event name. We just need to put our suspected drug, and we need to answer the questions. Okay, and then as per that our question answer, database will give you the result. Okay, so just see what are the questions. Okay, uh, so we'll take the same example so that it will be clear to everyone. Are there any previous conclusion report on this reaction? Which reaction? We'll take the example of paracetamol with stomach pain. If suppose with the clinical trial of paracetamol, if we have any information of the past reaction, same type of reaction, then we will say yes. If there is no such reports available, we say no. If we confirm that there is no reports available, then we say no. But if we do not have any information, then we will know. We'll say don't know. Okay. So the first question is: are there any previous conclusion report on this reaction? Okay. We'll take the example of paracetamol and stomach pain. If it is if we have any data where we have information like in past, suppose 2 years back or 3 years back, there are some patient having the same type of stomach pain with paracetamol, then we'll mention this as yes. And as per your yes, no, this is already, this criteria is already there. Okay. We have to just, in database, there will be one column here. Okay. Once we click on yes, it will give +1. Once we click on no, it will give 0. And once we click on don't know, it will give 0. Okay. Then your next one: did the adverse event appear after the suspect drug was administered? That means they are confirming that the reaction of stomach pain is after administration of paracetamol. We will say yes, because we show that this is after administration of paracetamol. We will say yes. If after administration of paracetamol there is no reaction, and after some days if there is a reaction, we will say no, because immediately after administration of the paracetamol there is no stomach pain. Okay. Then did the adverse reaction improve when the drug was discontinued or specific antagonist was administered? Okay. Likewise, there are a set of questions. So this is the set of 10 questions. So from each question, we need to either select yes, no, or don't. Okay. If we see, did the reaction reappear when the placebo was given? Okay. So we need to answer. We need to answer all questions. So these are the numbers which are already auto-populated over there. Once you select yes, no, or don't know. And as per after answering all 10 questions, this is the set of 10 questions with rating 0 to 9. Okay. There will be a total. You need to do the total for all these yes, no, and don't know. If your total, okay, if your total is more than 9, that is 9 or 10, okay, so you need to mention that the reaction, adverse drug reaction, is directly related to your suspected drug. Okay. So as per Narendra scale, we need to mention there is a definite, because the total is 9 and above. So there is a definite causal relationship of your event of stomach pain with paracetamol. Hope this is clear to everyone. Then, if the total is between 5 to 8, so we need to mention the causal relationship between the event of stomach pain and paracetamol is probable. Okay. Then, if your total is between 1 to 4, we need to mention the event of stomach pain is possibly related to our suspected drug paracetamol. And if the total is 0, that means you yes, no, and don't know. If the total is 0, then we can say the event of stomach pain, the causal relationship between the event of stomach pain and the suspected drug is doubtful. Okay, just to understand you, for your understanding, with the layman term, I will explain this with the percentage. If your total is 9, so we can say 100% your event of stomach pain is related to your suspected drug. It's 100%, just for your understanding. Okay. If your total is between 5 to 8, you can say the relationship of your event and suspect drug is 80%. 70 to 80%, there are chances that the event of stomach pain is due to your drug paracetamol. Okay. So for possible, it will be a you can say between a 40 to 50%. If your total is between 1 to 4, you can say the event of stomach pain are possibly related to your suspected. That means there are chances of 40 to 50% that due to our suspected drug event is occurring. But if it is 0, so you can say it's a 0% guarantee that event of stomach pain is caused by our suspected drug. Okay. So this is Narendra scale, and most of the database are using Narendra scale, and some of the customized database they are also using Narendra scale, because these are a specific set of 10 questions. Each question is directly linked with your suspect drug and event. So this is more popular, you can say, the scale for causality assessment. Okay. Then we'll see a next scale, that is WH scale. Okay. So before that, we need to see the two terminology, that is de-challenge, re-challenge. okay, which is important. I will explain you with the help of paint so that this will be very very clear to everyone. Okay, 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 okay. What do you mean by de-challenge and re-challenge? Hope you are able to see my screen. Okay, so now what we are looking for the causality assessment method, and we already saw one method. As I mentioned, there are around 35 methods available, okay, but most popular only two methods, Naranjo and the future scale, okay. So there is no need to know about the rest of the methods because they are not that much popular, and it depend on the countries' rules and regulation. But most of the countries are accepting Naranjo and WH scale. So as I'm already explained you about Naranjo scale, there are set of question from 0 to 9, and we need to answer our question with yes, no, or don't know, or we can call that as an unknown. For each question, there will be a numerical value already given. So you need to answer all question. And as I mentioned, if it is more than 9, then your event is directly related to the suspected drug. That is definite. If it between your 5 to 8, okay, then we are saying there is a probable relationship between your event and suspected drug. If it is between 1 to 4, then we can say possibly there is a chances that the event is due to our suspected drug. If it is 0, we are saying it's a doubtful, okay, that the event of stomach pain is due to our drug paracetamol. This is how Netflix scale. Now we will see how WHO scale is working. WHO, World Health Organization causality assessment method. Okay, this is very simple. For that, you need to understand what do you mean by de-challenge. Okay, what do you mean by re-challenge? This is very simple, and as I mentioned, I am also explaining you, like I'm giving you hint what are the questions are generally asked during your interview. So this is you can say this is also of favorite questions during your PV interview. What do you mean by de-challenge and what do you mean by re-challenge? And they will also ask, do you know the methods of causality assessment? So you can say yes, there are many methods available, but two are popular: Naranjo scale and WH scale. Okay. Narendra scale is having 0 to 9 questions, and you can give this description. And for WHO scale, okay, you should understand what do you mean by de-challenge, what do you mean by re-challenge. So what is de-challenge? Okay, so in a simple word, okay, we'll take the same example of your paracetamol causing not a stomach pain, sorry, because general paracetamol generally used as a painkiller also. So stomach irritation, we'll take stomach irritation as an event. Okay. So what do you mean by de-challenge? Okay. So when the paracetamol is administered to the patient, okay, there is a reaction of stomach irritation. Okay, stomach irritation. We came to know that when we administer the drug paracetamol, the event of stomach irritation started. Okay, as soon as we stop this drug, okay, that is, we stop our suspected drug, event also stop. Okay, this is called as de-challenge. That means when the drug is administered, event is occurring, When we stop the drug, suspected drug, event is stopped. Okay, so this is called de-challenge. What do you mean by re-challenge? With the same example, okay, if we again start a suspected drug paracetamol, after stopping, if we again start our suspected drug paracetamol, again event of stomach irritation is reoccurred. Okay, that means reintroduction of your suspected drug. There is a reintroduction or reappearing of event due to reintroduction. This is called re-challenge. Okay, hope this is clear because this is very simple. I will give this hint so that it will be very simple and clear to you. Drug stop, event stop. That is the challenge. Okay, your drug stop, you stop taking drug, your event will stop. You reintroduce your drug, okay, event will be reappear. If you reintroduce your drug, event will be reappear. This is recharge. Very, very simple. Okay. But there are two terms linked to this de-challenge, re-challenge as well. Okay. We'll see that as well. So we are here, WHO scale. Okay. Then we saw this as de-challenge and re-challenge. Okay. And as I explained, de-challenge means drug stop, event stop. Okay. And re-challenge, drug reintroduce. That means you have again given the drug. That event is reappearing. Okay. So this is re-challenge. Now there are two terms linked to both of de-challenge and re-challenge. You'll see that. One is positive de-challenge. Okay. And one is negative de-challenge. Okay. These are the definitions. Please note that those who are really want to keep this in your mind, this is very, very important. And most of the time students are confused. What do you mean by positive, negative? Okay. So there is a positive challenge and there is a negative challenge. Same way, there is a positive re-challenge and there is a negative re-challenge. Okay, what does this stand for? Okay, we'll see this one by one. So what does positive de-challenge stand? What do positive de-challenge means? First, please make a note. De-challenge, that means you stop the drug, event is stopped. Okay. And what is re-challenge? You reintroduce the drug. This is not first time. This is, you can say, this administration of drug after event is already occurred. So that's why I am emphasizing word reintroduce. If you reintroduce the drug, event will be reappear. That means the same type of event is appeared when the drug has been given first. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So the de-challenge and re-challenge. We understood what does the de-challenge mean? Drug stop, event stop. What do you mean by a positive de-challenge? The positive de-challenge is when you stop the drug administration. Okay, you stop the drug administration, event is completely stopped. Okay, event is completely stopped. So this is called as positive de-challenge. Okay, That means the result is positive. Very simple to understand. Okay. So what is negative in that case? You stop the drug, but event is still continue. Okay. After stopping your drug, event is still continue. This is called negative de-challenge. Very, very simple and very, very important to know. On the similar line, what do you mean by re-challenge? Re-challenge is we have reintroduced your suspected drug, the event is reappeared. Okay. So what do you mean by positive re-challenge? The positive re-challenge is when you reintroduce, make sure that, please note that it's a reintroduction. Re-challenge is a reintroduction of the drug. Okay. This is very, very important. The difference between re-challenge and re-challenge. Okay. If you reintroduce your suspected drug, your event is reappear. Okay, that means you introduce paracetamol, reintroduce the paracetamol, event of stomach irritation started. Stomach irritation. Okay, sorry, I forgot to give this same example here, just to clarify you and just simplify you the same example. Okay. Okay, here we stop the paracetamol, event of stomach irritation has been stopped completely. So this is positive discharge. We stop paracetamol, we stop giving paracetamol to the patient who is having that event. We stop paracetamol, but still event of stomach irritation is continued. Okay, so this is negative discharge. What do you mean by positive re-challenge? So positive re-challenge is we reintroduce the paracetamol, there is a reappearance of stomach irritation. So this is positive re-challenge. We confirm that after reintroduction of the paracetamol, the same event of stomach irritation is there. So this is positive. What do you mean by negative re-challenge? After reintroduction of your suspected drug, okay, event is not happening. That means if this event is discontinued or event is not there, event is not reappear. So this is negative re-challenge. With the example, we reintroduce the paracetamol, but there is no event of stomach irritation. Is that clear to everyone? This is very, very important and very, very simple. Okay. Okay. So just de-challenge, re-challenge, positive de-challenge, negative de-challenge, drug stop, event stop. Positive de-challenge, as drug stop, event stop, this is positive. But as drug stop, event is still continue, negative de-challenge. Re-challenge, we reintroduce the drug, event should be reappear. But in positive re-challenge, we reintroduce the drug, event is reappear. That means the result is positive. But although we reintroduce the drug, event is not there. This is negative re-challenge. Okay. I hope this is very, 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 you can say, like, very, very simple way to explain you, and I hope you understand this correctly. Okay, now we move on to the method. So what do you mean by the adverse drug reaction and causality assessment as per the WHO scale? Okay, so WHO along with Uppsala Monitoring Center, if you recall our slide for thalidomide tragedy, where along with WHO, they started a first center or a meeting in Uppsala, Sweden. Okay, so they started this causality assessment method. This is very very simple method. Once you understand the challenge and re-challenge. Okay, so WHO Uppsala Monitoring Center for Causality Assessment take into the account the clinical pharmacological aspect, whereas so they are taking the clinical and pharmacological aspect for doing the causality assessment, whereas previous knowledge of ADR plays a less prominent role. That means if there are some drug reactions occurred in past, the WHO scale is cons- not considering that, you can say the like it's not that much important while doing the WHO causality assessment. But if you see in Naranja scale, if you see in Naranja scale, there is a second question which deals with your past history. Did the adverse event appear after the suspect drug? Where is the okay? Your first question. Sorry, your first question tells about are previous conclusion report on this reaction. So Naranja scale talks about your past adverse drug reaction, but WHO scale not talking about your any past reaction for the same type of drug with the same event. One more thing, if you want to I just want to highlight you those who want to know in detail. Here also de-challenge and re-challenge concept is there. See the question. Did the adverse event appear after the suspected drug was administered? What does this mean? Did the adverse event appear the suspected drug was administered? That means you administer the drug, reactions are there. In reverse sense, you stop the drug, reaction is not appearing. So this is D-challenge. Second question, did the AE improve when the drug was discontinued? That is, stopping your drug, reaction is stopped. So this is your discharge. And did the adverse reaction event appear after the suspected drug was administered? So consider this as your recharge. Okay, but this is not just to give you a hint about the challenge and recharge. Okay, so there are four main criteria for WHS scale to relate with your event and the drug. First is certain, probable, possible, and unlikely. Likewise, we have in Naranja scale, if you see, definite relationship with the drug and event, probable relationship, possible, and doubtful. Okay. On the same line, here we have certain, that is 100. Just to understand you, okay, for your understanding, certain means 100% there is a relationship. Probable means there is 70 to 80% chances of event due to your suspected. Possible like 40 to 50%. Unlikely, you can say the 0 to 10%. Okay, how this work? If at the time of event there is a de-challenge and re-challenge, that means we stop the drug, event is stopped, and we reintroduce the drug, event is reappear. If this is confirmed and if there are no other factors that we are aware that 100% there are no other factor, as we introduce the drug, event is there. As we stop the drug, event is not there. With the example of paracetamol, we have stopped the paracetamol, event is stopped, and we reintroduce the paracetamol, event is there. So we can say the event of stomach irritation is certainly related to your drug paracetamol. In PV term, the event of adverse drug event is certainly related to your suspected drug. If there are confirmed no other factors who's causing that event. Probable. If only we have the information where the D challenge is there. Means after stopping the drug, event is stopped. But we do not have information whether we reintroduce after reintroduction of the event. After the reintroduction of the drug, event is there or not, because there are some other possible factors which may cause the event that we are not sure. So we can say, if we have only information about the D challenge, we do not have information about the re challenge, and we feel that there is some other possible factors which can cause the event. So we can say the event of stomach irritation is probably related to our drug paracetamol. Okay. If we do not have any information, we do not have any information on D challenge also. Okay. That means after stopping the drug, event is not stopped. We do not have any information why it's not, but there is a possibility that there are some other factors are there. So we can say possibly our event of stomach irritation is related to our suspected drug paracetamol. But if we do not have any information with a de-challenge, re-challenge, and we have probable information that there are some other factors, then we can say the event of stomach irritation is unlikely related to your suspected drug. Okay. So this is the classification as per WHO scale, and this is the classification as per Naranja scale. So it's not necessary both the scale are used. One of the scale are generally used, but most popular are Naranja scale, and after that WHO scale. Any one method is generally used to do the causality assessment. Hope this is very clear to everyone. So with the definition, de-challenge and re-challenge, as we already covered that, de-challenge and re-challenge are the important factor for determining the safety profile of a drug molecule with a particular adverse event or the disease. De-challenge, as I mentioned, is the effect on adverse event on stoppage of the drug. That means if your event is if your drug is stopped, your event will stop. And what does the positive de-challenge means? ADR are subsiding or stopping on the stoppage of the drug therapy, and negative ADR continue after stoppage of the drug therapy. Same with re-challenge. The effect of after re-administration. So please make sure the re-administration is very important role in the definition of the re-challenge. What does positive re-challenge means? ADR reoccurred, means reappear after re-administration. Negative ADR not reoccur after re-administration. Now we will see the TB reporting to regulatory agency, how the reporting part is done. Okay, for that I'll explain you something which is important. Okay. Okay, I'll explain you with the pen so that it will be very useful for you. Okay. So if you see here, we'll go step by step so that you are with the sync with the flow of how we are doing and where we are now. Okay. Okay, so what we did, we see the clinical and spontaneous report. It came into a database. Then we do the data entry part. Okay. After doing the data entry, we did the causality assessment as well. The causality assessment means evaluation of your adverse drug reaction and evaluation of your relationship between the adverse drug reaction and the event. After doing this, we need to write the summary that is your narrative writing. Whatever you have entered in your database, everything you need to write in the narrative. And after writing a narrative, as I mentioned, you need to, there are some actions. So because narrative we'll see separately, it's a very important topic. Okay. So either you need to submit this reports to regulatory authority. Okay. As we already saw what are the different regulatory authority, why we need to submit this to regulatory authority. Okay, then there is a signal generation as well, so we need to report that as well. We need to answer some queries. Okay, and there are some reports which are directly closed. There is no need to report anywhere. Generally this report are closed, are non-serious event. Okay, all are non-serious event. What do you mean by non-serious event? Adverse drug reactions. Adverse drug reactions are generally called, classified under serious and non-serious. Okay, so other than your 5 category, all are non-serious events. Okay, your death, life-threatening, prolonged hospitalization. Okay, congenital anomaly, birth defect. Okay, so except all this event, rest all are your non-serious event, and there is no requirement to report that to your regulatory authority. Okay, so please keep this note because this is also important. In interview, you may expect a question on this. Okay, so what does we need to report to regulatory authority? Okay, as I mentioned, we need to report all serious adverse reactions. Out of all serious adverse reactions or events, okay, those who are fatal and life-threatening, means the event which caused the death or life-threatening prolonged hospitalization, we need to report within 7 days. It's 7 calendar days. We call this as suspected, unexpected, serious adverse reaction, and the full form. And this is the short form called as SUSAR. It's a suspected, unexpected, serious adverse reaction. So this is very important. And other than that, you need to report within 15 days, calendar days. Okay. So these are the calendar days. Please note that it's not your working day, because for example, most of the country they follow Monday to Friday pattern of your working. Okay, and if suppose you receive any event on Saturday, so your day 1, day 0 will start from Saturday. From day 0, before day 7, you need to report this to regulatory authority, and this is mandatory. Okay, so this is the reporting part of your serious adverse event. It's a suspected, unexpected, serious adverse event. All death and life-threatening event has to be reported within 7 days. Rest all non-serious adverse reactions has to be reported within 15 days. And in some countries, there is a regulation to report non-serious event also. So you can report that within 30 days. Okay. Okay. So this is one thing that you need to report. Another thing is signal generation. What do you mean by the signal generation? So understand, this is very important. Signal generation is with the same example of our paracetamol causing stomach irritation. Okay. So we have a report and during the from our clinical trial that paracetamol is causing stomach irritation to 100 patients, okay, out of 1000 patients. Okay, so we are doing the clinical trial for the paracetamol on 1000 patients or subjects, and out of 1000 we have a report that 100 patients are causing stomach irritation. So we have this report, but after some time we came to know that along with stomach irritation, some patients, not necessarily this 100, maybe this out of this 100 or maybe out of rest of the 900, some patients are also causing event of vomiting, which was not previously reported. Previously, what event we have for paracetamol is stomach irritation. But now some patient, it may be from the same group who are having event of stomach irritation, or maybe from a different group of 900 patient who do not have any reaction. But now some patient is, take example of 50 patient. Okay, 50 patient is having event of vomiting with paracetamol, and this is you can say we monitor, and this is a continuous reaction is occurring with a Naranjo scale or maybe with a WHO scale. We confirm that event that is of vomiting is directly related to our drug paracetamol. So event of vomiting is signal. Okay, this is a signal generation, or you can say that this is the signal detection that we found a new event of vomiting with paracetamol. This is called a signal generation or signal detection. And now we need to monitor our paracetamol for event of stomach pain, stomach irritation, as well as event of vomiting. Okay. So this is called the signal generation or signal detection. Okay. In simple word, okay, in a simple word, what do you mean by signal generation or signal detection? Is a finding of a new event with existing suspected drug having another event. This is just to understand you in layman term. It's a generation of a signal for a new event for a same suspected drug, existing suspected drug, which is having another event, which is not same like a new event. Okay, paracetamol is having event of stomach irritation, and now signal has been generated for vomiting. So vomiting is the signal generation for the paracetamol. Hope this will be very simple and clear to you. Okay, now we'll move on to our next part that we already discussed, that is regulatory reporting timeline to a different regulatory agencies. Okay, this is what we already covered. SUSAR, it's a suspected unexpected serious adverse drug reaction that are fatal and life-threatening. As soon as we found this event, we need to report that within 7 days of first knowledge. That means with the first alert, whenever we came to know that there is some fatal or life-threatening event occurred due to your drug. What do you mean by the follow-up? Follow-up means if you already report your drug for this fatal or life-threatening event with the same patient, if suppose for example the patient is died, and at that time we do not have detailed information about his previous medical history. Suppose patient is died due to you can say attack. Okay, and that time we mentioned that the patient is died while taking our suspected drug, but we do not know exact cause. Okay, but for the same patient, we got the relevant follow that where we came to know that patient is died due to hypoglycemic attack. Patient is having diabetes. That information was not there previously, but we got that information. So we can report that information within 8 days. Means after reporting this information, once we got the information, so as soon as we receive the information, suppose I receive information on 1st May 2020, then I need to report that information follow information within 8 days of notification. Okay, this is mainly for fatal and life threatening. Other than fatal and life threatening, we can report that to regulatory authority within 15 days. So reporting timeline is also one of our favorite question during the interview. So make sure you can notice SUSAR of fatal and life threatening. We need to report in 7 days. Follow up we need to report in 8 days. Other than fatal and life threatening, all SUSAR we need to report in 15 days, and in some case non-serious cases we need to report within 30 days. To whom we are reporting? Okay, we are report. Excuse me. We are reporting to a regulatory authority. We are reporting to ethics committee, and we are reporting to other investigators as well. Whatever information that we have. Okay. Now we'll come to our last part, that is narrative writing. After completing this, we will have a question answer in detail. So what do you mean by narrative writing? Before going to a description part, I will explain you with the uh, my, you can say with the help of whiteboard, that is a print. Okay, hope everyone able to see the screen. Okay, so what do you mean by narrative? Okay. So I will once again cover the process. We are here. We got the report from clinical and spontaneous. The report goes into the database. Then we do the data entry. Okay. After doing the data entry, we do the evaluation of your causality assessment. Okay. Then we like after doing the evaluation part, we need to write the summary of all this information in a narrative format. Okay, and just to remind you, only narrative are means regulatory agency and authority only checking the narrative part. They will not check your data entry and everything. Okay, if required, they have the access, they can check, but most of the time they only check your narrative. And from narrative, if they have any questions query, they will ask pharma company, and pharma company has to respond to their questions within the timeline. Okay, so see that like this narrative is very critical part, and if you pay attention for 10 minutes, you will came to know how we can write the narrative. So I will take the example of a film. I hope Three Idiots, this movie Three Idiots, or the recent movie Tanaji. Everyone saw that movie Tanaji. Okay, so we'll take the example of movie Tanaji, and we need to write the narrative for the movie Tanaji. Okay, and if I want to explain the story of Tanaji to one of my friend, okay, whatever I am doing is called the narration. Okay, so most of us saw the movie of Tanaji. So have we started that Ajay Devgan killed Saif Ali Khan? Is it that character they have, Saif Ali Khan? Have we started from here? Or we started that when Tanaji was a kid, his father taught him lesson of how to fight, how to ride the horse, how to tackle the situation. So likewise, okay, what do you mean by narrative? Narration is the sequential process, okay, that we are telling step by step, okay. With again example of Tanaji, we will say Tanaji was kid, like when he was small, his father taught the lesson how to fight. Then we saw Shivaji Maharaj for there. Then we saw some forts are given to Aurangzeb. Okay. Then we saw entry of Tanaji. Then we saw entry of Saif Ali Khan, the character Uday Singh, right? If I'm not wrong. Then we saw that Uday Singh came to capture Pondana. Then we saw there is a fight between Ajay Devgan and Uday Singh. And finally, Ajay Devgan won the Pondana. Okay. So this is the story. So what we did, this is the sequence, and this is called chronology. So in the similar line, narrative writing is writing a story for patient, drug, and event. So this is our film. For each narrative is the story writing for your film, which involve a patient, drug, and event. You can say patient is your hero, maybe drug is your supporting actor, and the event is your villain. And whatever we are starting from 1 to 10, and whatever we are explaining, it's your narrative. This is just to understand what you mean by narrative writing in a simple sense. Now, how we are writing narrative in PV, and what are the things that you need to consider while writing the narrative. Please note that first and important thing, you need to mention about patient information. That is patient. We always mention the subject if the report is coming from clinical trial, or we can mention the patient. Okay. There are some thumb rule that you need to keep in mind while writing narrative. All narratives should be in past tense, because event is already happened, some actions are already taken. Okay, so all narrative are in only in past tense. There should not be any continuous present tense or future tense. Okay, because we are writing about a story that is already happened. Okay, what we are saying, like Tanaji killed Udayban. We are not saying while narrating a story that Tanaji is going to kill Udayban. So Tanaji already killed Udayban. Okay, so we need to write the information about the patient, and we need to narrate like the patient or the subject. Then you have to mention about your suspect drug. Suspect drug, if it is from clinical trial, you need to mention only generic name. Okay, So, for example, if it is reaction is for aspirin, so you need to write acetyl salicylic acid, salicylic acid. Okay, but if we are writing for spontaneous report, then you need to write aspirin and in bracket acetyl salicylic acid. Okay, likewise, and in the same way, you need to write for concomitant medication as well. Okay. Third and most important thing you need to write about event. Okay, so there is a rule, there is a thumb rule while writing your PV narrative. Report as reported. What do you mean by report as reported? If the event is fever, we will report this as fever only. But in Medra, there will be auto medical coding which is done, but your event remain as fever only. So throughout the narrative, you need to write as the event of fever. You will not change your term to similar word pyrexia while writing your narrative. This will be done under your Medra coding, but that is not our concern because it has been done automatically. But we need to mention that the event of fever, if it is the event of fever, we need to write the fever. If it is stomach pain, we will write a stomach pain only. We will not do the shortcut or anything modification like a pain or anything. Okay, if it is stomach pain, we will write stomach pain only. Okay, so this is about your event. Then you need to mention about your medical history, if any medical history is there with the patient, or any past medication. This is called as past medication or past drug patient was taking. Then you need to mention about your diagnosis, if any diagnosis is done for the patient, okay, in past, or diagnosis for your event. Then also you need to mention about any treatment is taken, treatment for the event which is occurred, for recovering of the event. If any treatment is given, you need to mention that as well. Okay, sixth part will be your conclusion. Okay, if it is a serious adverse event, okay, all serious adverse event has to be, means causality analysis has to be done by a medical professional only. That means MBBS doctor and above, for all serious adverse event which include your death and life threatening. Okay, but for rest event, any data entry person or quality assurance person will do the causality assessment. Okay, so these are, you can say, these are the important points that you need to remember. You need to remember, this is not sequence, these are the important points that you need to remember while writing narrative. Okay, then what will be the sequence of writing the narrative? Okay, so as I mentioned, different database, RHG, Argus and Aware, they follow a different pattern. It's a pattern, it's not, okay, pattern of writing a narrative. Okay, but the main core content remain the same. Okay, in, so we'll take a basic rule to write a narrative. So it will but as I mentioned, this will be only pattern, but whatever we need to cover, what I explained you just now, will remain the same. Means in all type of narrative, your patient information, your event information, your drug information, your past and medical history information, and your concomitant medical in your conclusion is must required in any type of narrative writing. Okay, from where we start, then we start. So this is the basic skeleton to write a narrative. The first paragraph will tell about the story that the patient, the male patient of age, we need to mention the age, so and so, okay, taking suspected drug, so and so, take for example of paracetamol, the male patient of age, so and so, taking suspected drug paracetamol, cause event of stomach irritation. Okay, this will be your first paragraph. What will be your second paragraph? Second paragraph will tell about your past drug, concomitant drug or medication, okay, and medical history if any. What will be your third paragraph? So this is make sure this is your introduction of your drug event. This will be your past information. Your means this will be your patient past information, and third is your main body of narrative, which include everything which is given in the description, starting from the day the patient is enrolled under the clinical trial till the today's whatever reports that we receive. Now there will be a definite question. Okay, if as I worked in TCS and Cognizant for clinical trial, we receive cases from for like, please note that one event, one case. That means, for example, with paracetamol, if patient is having stomach irritation, this will be the one case. Okay, and each case is having you can say a unique number. Okay, with the same patient, okay, with the same patient, if the patient is having different event, okay, so different with the same patient, if the event patient is having different event, a different unique number will be created, and this will be a second case with the same patient, same drug. As I mentioned, vomiting is a different event, so different unique number will be created. So likewise, we will get the cases which is having pages around 2 to 3, from 2 to 3 may, and some cases are having pages more than 100, 300, 400. Okay, and this is for only one case. So any case will have case number pages of description from 2 to 3 to up to 300 and 400. So should I report or should I write everything in main body? Is it possible, or should I do the coding of everything in the database? It's not possible. Okay, for clinical trial or spontaneous cases as well. Okay, for example, like if the case is from spontaneous source and lawyer has reported the case in US, and lawyer gave all the information starting from patient birth till patient died, and if suppose all this information is around 350 pages, and this is single case. Okay, and just to inform you, in each organization you will have a daily target to complete cases. When I was doing coding, the 100 cases I need to do for clinical trial daily minimum, and 100 cases of spontaneous. So in totally I need to do 200 cases daily. And with this 200 cases, if suppose I got some cases which is having pages around more than 100, 200 or 400, so my single day will be finished with only one case. Is it possible me to complete all these cases? So there is a key, there is a hint. If you have more number of reports, more number of information, you need to only select the relevant information with your event. Okay, for example, patient is having diabetes. We are doing the clinical trial for the diabetes drug. Okay, and the patient is died due to hypoglycemic attack, due to low blood sugar level, and we got all lab data. We have data for MRI also, we have CT scan also, around 50 reports on MRIs, 50 reports on CT scan, and 50 reports on your blood parameter. So if there is more information, there is no requirement to take a MRI data, no requirement to take CT scan data, but I will take all blood related report, because which is directly related to your hypoglycemic attack. Clear? But it is mandatory to take this decision. If we are a B.Pharm, M.Pharm or BSc, MSc graduate, we will not take this decision. We need to confirm this information with medical reviewer, that is MBBS doctor, that which test should I do the data entry, and only that part I need to mention in the main content. Okay, so hope this is very, very clear to everyone. Okay, so in short, to write a narrative in PV, okay, first paragraph is your introduction of patient, event, and drug. Second paragraph is about your past medical history of your drug, medical history, past drug, and past lab data. Third will be your main body, which include all the description, relevant description. Make sure this will be a relevant description with your event, which include starting from patient admitted to a clinical trial, okay, on 2000, and on 22 May 2020, patient got the event of stomach irritation. Okay, so starting from 2002 till 2020 we need to write, but only we need to take relevant information which is related to your event of stomach pain. Whenever patient is hospitalized for your event or pre-existing disease, you need to take that. Along with that, you need to put all lab data and diagnosis tests that you perform. Everything comes under this main body. Then fourth section will be your causality assessment, or you can say medical reviewer comment. Okay, so medical reviewer comment for fatal and life-threatening event, and for rest all it will be causality assessment done by other people. So our causality assessment will tell about that, as I mentioned, the event of stomach irritation is directly related, you can say the event of stomach irritation is definitely related to or suspected drug paracetamol. Okay, or if medical review will put his comment, the fatal event. If the event is fatal, to you need to mention the fatal event of convulsion is definitely due to a suspected drug. This will be your fourth column. And what will be your final column? Uh, Fifth column will be fifth row. Sorry, fifth row will be your action. That is, the suspected drug has been discontinued or continued or withdrawn from trial due to event, okay, occurred, reoccurred, or not occurred. So that will be your final statement. Okay. So I hope this is very clear to everyone, and I try to simplify as much as I can do from my end. Okay. So we'll quickly run through this so that we'll done with our narrative session today. So purpose to provide, you can say the summary of identified and specified adverse event occurring in the patient to conclude the causal relationship between the drug and event. Objective of the narrative is to summarize the all relevant clinical and related information, including your patient characterization, therapy details, prior medical history, clinical course of event, laboratory evidence, and any other information that supports or refutes a diagnosis of your area. That means it will include everything. The information should be presented in logical time sequence, that is chronological order, as I already explained. Okay, so what is required? Okay, as I already mentioned, you should have introduction of event, drug, and patient history, past drug history, and event history, or any other disease or disorder patient is having. Complete detail about your event, occur, drug, diagnosis, and your treatment. Then medical review opinion only for serious and fatal cases, and finally the conclusion of your causality assessment and whether you are continuing your suspected drug or stop or withdraw. Okay, so these are some important things that we need to consider as per ICH E3 guideline for writing a narrative. That is the nature, intensity, and outcome of the event should be there. Clinical course of leading to the event should be there in your narrative. Timing of study drug administered should be there. Relevant laboratory measures has to be there. Counter measures, that means if you are taking any treatment for your event, is to be there. Action taken with the study drug in relation to the event has to be there. Post mortem finding, if the patient is died and if we have the information, it should be there. Okay, action taken with the study drug in relation to the event has to be there, and investigator and sponsor opinion is required. Additionally, the patient identifier, age, gender, clinical condition, disease, treatment, relevant medical history has to be there. All information is extracted from the source file. Like as I mentioned, after doing all data entry, your universal database convert that information to a specific form. So there are Medwatch form, Sioms form. Okay, so whatever we are writing, it will convert it into for most of the countries, Sioms form is used. Sioms is Council for International Organization of Medical Science. Okay, so these are some more tips to write the narrative. And as I mentioned, this is Medwatch form, this is Sion's form, which generally used for CDS CO in India. So whatever data entry we are doing, all data entry after submitting a final button means that after closing the case, all that information will auto-populated in this middleware form. Okay, if you see the FDA, this is middleware form for USA. This form is FDA 3500A mandatory reporting form, regulatory, industry and user facility. They generally use this form. So whatever data entry we do, so this is section for the patient information. This is section for patient age, weight. This is about your adverse event. You will write whether the adverse event is continued, discontinued, or persisting. Then this is your narrative part. Whatever you are writing in the database, it will be auto-populated here. This is for your medical history. This is for your past and this is for your causality assessment. This is for your suspected medical review comment, and this is for those who are not reporting the event. Okay, this is for middleware form, and this is for CDSCO. Okay, so with this, I think we are good on the part, and I'll just quickly revise what we covered in last 2 days. We covered about the pharmacovigilance, we covered the principle of pharmacovigilance, then we covered the what are different terminology used in PV. We covered PV adverse reporting system. We covered the type of ADR, then we covered diagnosis and management of ADR. Then we covered today narrative writing, how we write the narrative. We also covered the causality assessment scale. With this, I'll take a pause, and I think we are good to go. And I have covered almost more than 80% of pharmacovigilance concept, terminology, and principles. And I think we are ready to go for question answers. Yeah. So I can see some question, and meanwhile I'll just mention. Okay. Yes, there is a question from Swati. Good afternoon, sir. For preparation of the interview of the clinical research, can you please specifically recommend one particular book? And sir, for clinical research interview, aptitude test, group discussion, technical, and last but not the least, HR round take place. Yes, and sir, in the last session, drug regulatory affair topic was discussed in this domain. Documentation process is carried out. Okay, so Swati, to answer your question, yes, for any interview, those who are a fresher and appearing for the interview. So all these different stages has to be there. First, there will be your aptitude test. Aptitude test will generally have 50% of your logical reasoning questions and 50% of your domain questions. Like if you are going for domain specific questions, if you are going for PV, so they will ask you what do you mean by SAE, what are the timeline for reporting serious adverse event and non-serious adverse event. They will ask you the regulatory agency, and they will ask you the full form for COMS. They will ask you the reporting timeline. So this will be the MCQ questions. Generally, they have 50% you will have the logical reasoning question, and 50% you will have the this domain specific. There will be there is no specific book available as such for any clinical research. You can say the study, but there are many content available online, so you can go, you can explore on internet, so you will find many things under the clinical research. Okay, but if you want to go specifically for pharmacovigilance, there are some books available online, so you can just explore yourself and you will get to know about some good books. So and do not go for any pay option. You can go for yeah, you can say you can go for a free option. There are many books available freely. Okay, just I will suggest everyone. This is for everyone. If you want to prepare for interview, so if you are going for example, I will give you just example. For if you are come to know about there is an interview next week in a TCS, and you are going for a pharmacovigilance interview. So make sure that you do not going to read everything about clinical research. Be specific. Only read about the pharmacovigilance, and whatever you can read about the pharmacovigilance, you can go read. Also try to find out for which project you are going for an interview or not. If it is not possible, just try to find out what are different projects are running in the TCS. If it is for Roche, if it is for Medtronic, if it is for Sanofi, or if it is for Glaxo, just read about the company profile for that as well. Like for Glaxo, Glenmark, or maybe Roche, and like during interview they may ask you like, do you know anything about this company? What type of product they have? Okay, so that will be a key. And yes, there will be a group discussion. There will be a topic given for you. It may be or may not be related to your domain, but they just wanted to see your confidence. They just wanted to see your communication skill. And finally, there will be a HR round, but before HR round, there will be a 2 or 3 technical round where you will expect to have only technical question. What do you mean by pharmacovigilance? What is do you mean by type of ADR? What do you mean by ACE? How you write the narrative? And for PV specifically, there will be a definite you can say the assessment on your narrative writing. They want to see your presentation skill, they want to see your communication skill, they want to see your written communication skill. So there will be a definite narrative writing assessment on all PV whenever like for whatever company you are going. Okay, so there is the next question from Piyush Rathod. What is average salary in PU? It depend on Piyush, because it depend on the companies. But for freshers, okay, and what I like came to know from the market, generally you can expect starting salary from 2.3 and 2.4. It will be starting, but it depend on the for which project you are going. There are some company who they are offering a good salary as well, but it depend on their requirement. Okay, so your salary range will start from 2.3 to 2.5, or maybe if you are good enough and you are extraordinary candidate, you will get a good amount of salary around 3 as well. Okay, next question. Utter B farm, how I can go for CDM? As I mentioned, if you are a fresher, so there are 3 sources that you need to connect for your jobs. The first most important source that you need to connect, that if your seniors or any friends are already working for any domain. Suppose there was one question a day before yesterday as well, just to I will answer that as well, because it's related to that. You can go to any profile. You can go for PV, you can go for CDM, you can go for regulatory writing, you can go for medical writing or narrative writing. But before that, just identify your own capability, skill, okay, and find out your own plus and minuses, and as per that decide your career. Okay, so that will be a more important, because if anyone is not that much comfortable with the documentation part. Okay, for example, documentation means there are many there is a process we generally called as regulatory reporting. Okay, regulatory reporting generally involves more of documentation part. Like there are many forms, there are many pages you need to you need to go on through each and every pages. You need to take track all the reports, and you need to do the data entry as well. So regulatory reporting involves many more of documentation part. As compared to that, PV is required more of analysis part. data entry plus analysis. Like you can use your pharmacological knowledge, you can use your pharmacy knowledge in PV, CDM, where there are some terminology generally B Pharm or M Pharm or BSc MSc student are aware of that. So PV is more of your technical thing, data entry thing. Regulatory reporting is more of documentation type. CDM is 50% documentation, 50% you can say the technical thing. And medical writing is specifically your those who are very good in written communication, they will always go for medical writing option. So likewise, your friends, colleagues are those who are already working, so be in touch with them. Just ask if whenever there is an interview, they will inform you, because in all companies there is a policy. They forwarded the whatever interviews are there, they forward invite to their employees, and they ask to forward to their friends because they want a good crowd. So this is the one source. Second source, that you need to enroll for authenticated consultant firm. I will say authenticated, where there is a, they will not ask you for paying some fees. Naukri is free. Go and register for free. Do not go avail for any paid option, because most of the time paid option are fake. And third is, as I mentioned, go on each and every company profile website, and on career, you will find there are some openings, and you can directly apply from that. And so these are the different techniques that you can use. Okay. Any more question that we have? So Swati, I already I think answer question about the salary for medical coding, and these are the almost the same. Okay. So if we have any question, I will answer. So before that, if you see on my screen, this is my profile, and you can also, those who want some additional help and inputs, you can connect with me on my mail ID or LinkedIn, or if anyone want, you can set the guidance. They can connect me on WhatsApp as well. But just take a before appointment, because we are stuck with some different sessions. And I would like to also emphasize that I am also doing the personal coaching for the those who want to prepare for the interview, and those who want to specifically prepare for pharmacovigilance. So that is also covered in under my profile. So Puno ma'am, if there are any more questions, let me know. We'll answer.
Awesome. I hope
Yeah.
there are no questions, sir. But
Okay.
students are asking for presentation.
Okay, so I think I already shared this presentation with Ajay sir. I think if you have, like, if you have policy to share that presentation, I am okay to share. You can share, because this
Okay.
content I took from as per my experience, and some content I took from internet only. So there is no privacy policy. You can share that presentation.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
Sachin, sir, for another informative session. It's a
thanks.
great honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of entire fraternity of Konkan Ganpit Rahul Dhaga College of Pharmacy and Research
Mhm.
Institute on this fifth day of Student Development Program organized under KG Sanjeevani Continue Learning Webinar Series. First and foremost, I would like to thank Mr. Sachin Tadge, Assistant General Manager, Acutest Laboratories Private Limited, for being amazing speaker and trainer since last 2 days. His insightful sessions on pharmacovigilance, case processing, ADR, medical coding, narrative writing, and career opportunities in the field of clinical research area was full of wisdom and information. So thank you, sir, for your contribution and spending precious time with us in our small initiative of development program.
Okay.
Next, my sincere thanks to our management and principal, Dr. Mohan Kale sir, for giving us the opportunity to organize this development program. I am also thankful to organizing team, Dr. Amol Sandekar, coordinator of this program, Dr. Vaishali Zadhav, Mr. Ajay Kharche, Mr. Amol Borade for their continuous assistance. Last but not in the list, I am thankful to participants and delegates for their active participation. Before closing today's session, I would like to remind you about tomorrow's last session will be held at the same time. So thank you, stay safe and stay happy.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.